Thanks for tuning in, y'all. Christopher Nolan did an exceptional job with this film, our film Memento. And for its time, he did it with very little gimmicks, not a big CGI budget or anything like that. It was just good storytelling. And that was something I think was the most drawing part of this film that we had. And it kind of got me thinking, he did the backwards story first in cinema. Other people have played with non-linear storytelling, Cloud Atlas is a good one of note. But Nolan really just told the story backwards. It was pretty hard to do. And in the movie, the protagonist falls victim to the lies that he tells himself. He decided he was going to believe his own hype and do things his own way. And that was really the most heart-wrenching scene right there, where he decided he was going to control him. And in this reverse storytelling, to me, is reminiscent of the goals that we have in life. And we work backwards from those goals to explain away where we are now. And that right there is a form of cognitive dissonance. That's something we all have to be aware of. Because there's a lot of explaining as to why I'm rich, I'm a millionaire, but I live in this one-bedroom apartment. And a lot of us, especially in America, we've been given this dream that says, oh, if you go to America and you work hard, you're going to make it. There's a lot of asterisks there. There's a lot of explaining that we do to get to where our goals are versus where we really, truly are. And if we are here and we can't, or we don't, or we refuse to accept where we are from reality, then that is the biggest shame that you're going to experience. Is that gap of where you think you are versus where you are. So make sure you don't bullshit yourself. Don't believe your own hype. If you can accept that reality, you can get much closer to making a practical plan to make you feel. So that's why I give this movie an edger.
All right, history. What say you?
Also, with that, by the way, if you, I forgot to state this earlier, but if you want to keep continuing watching this action podcast, make sure that you hit that like and that subscribe, as well as also follow us on Spotify and wherever you get your audio acoustical pleasures from. Make sure you check us out on Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube, Facebook group. Join our Facebook group, man, so we could talk about some random movie shit as well, man. So that's actually pretty dope. But as far as my actual rating for this film, it automatically gets to sleep because I fell asleep on it, dog. I was so fucking bored of this movie. I was bored out of my fucking mind. I,
For me, I give this one. It is that borderline between an edger and a slumper. I lean more towards a high slumper.
okay.
It's in that slumper area. So, for those of you who are unfamiliar with our rating system, we have our 5 tier rating system. We have Edger, which is a 4 out of 5. We have a Winner, which is 5 out of 5. Slumper, 3 out of 5. A Sleeper, which is a 2 out of 5. And a Dumpster, which is a 1 out of 5. So Christopher Nolan's Memento came out in the year 2000. Oof. Some background details with regards to the production. This movie is actually based on a short story written by his brother, Jonathan Nolan. It was released in Esquire and it became a short story. It was called Memento Mori that rolled into excuse me, this movie, and it's on the career that we got from Christopher Nolan. Some other casting choices, there's not much on the internet of who else could have been in these roles. Although we would see one of the actors, Mark Bowen Jr., he would be in Sons of Anarchy. He would also be in Batman Begins. We would see him in some later Nolan projects as well. Pretty solid casting. And yeah, the movie itself, this plot. So, JC, how this movie starts, we're basically getting all these details of Leonard essentially hearing Teddy confess to a bunch of this shit, and then him deciding to go on his little Punisher quest. How do you feel that this movie kind of stacked up, and how do you feel that the ending in particular, when we see the ending, which is actually the beginning, how do you feel that that kind of leads into the rest of things?
Well, when you watch the movie for the first time, I think you might be a little confused, but the whole point is if you get it to the end, then it all makes sense. You know what I mean? So when they brought it together, I think starting with the end was a really cool idea. And few movies do that. They have the balls to pull the curtain down and then be like, y'all don't even know what I did. You know, and then this movie just tap danced all the way to the start of the story and how we got to this moment. And I think it was a very effective. It shows you the circle. You get the whole idea, the concept, and to do it in such an out of order way is kind of funny. The way that we like don't exactly ride the main character's coattails was helpful to the storytelling. So he keeps getting thrown out of the loop, but we, the viewer, keep getting more information. And I think that starting with the end was the best way to start to train us by repetition and show us when he has these black and white scenes, you know, that's the thing that was actually made sense and it went forward and everything else was backwards and go. So it was pretty interesting and very unique, especially for this time.
So
History?
I didn't feel the same way about the black and white scenes. I felt like this movie didn't know what it wanted to be. It didn't know if it wanted to be a psychological thriller. It didn't know if it wanted to be a murder mystery. I felt like it was so busy trying to be clever that it lost train of thought of what the actual film should like. What was the goal, the end game for the actual storyline? So I get it. I think that it's a cool concept that to go from back to front, but I just didn't like the fact that I don't feel like it was executed well. I will say the one part that was really cool is the fact of like the part that I caught on to the most is that we dealt with one character at a time, which I felt like you needed that for how much shit was like talked into this. But you gotta admit, Mimi, and this is no pun into Carrie Ann, yeah, Fisher being inside of this film is the
Carrie Ann
fact of like,
Moss.
Moss.
yeah, Moss. I'm sorry, Carrie Ann Moss.
She looked like
Uh,
a Fisher, right? Yeah.
yeah, she does look like a Fisher.
Princess
Uh,
Leia.
yeah, Princess Leia is in this movie. Um, Carrie Ann Moss, but like this feels like fucking Matrix 2 Reloaded when you had the last conversation with all the TV screens in the back. The high authority was like fucking talking to Neo at the very end. This movie felt like that for a lot of times, especially when he was on the phone, especially when he was saying like don't answer the phone to himself. It just felt like he was just talking, and I didn't feel like the conversations that he had technically connected to the story fully. Like you could see parts where he was like, "Well, the drug dealer," but okay, so we got the drug dealer. All right, that guy wound up getting shot later. So what's the rest of the story supposed to be about? So I felt like it lost translation for the most part, especially for me who has dyslexia, and I would have rode the fucking ride a long time ago, but it didn't feel like it connected as good as it wanted to.
For me, I think ambition, and I do have a lot of respect for that
I do
because
respect that.
Nolan is one of the last directors where it's like his name is the draw. His name is going to be like, okay, a Christopher Nolan movie. Even if it's one you may not be as interested in, the quality. And that is becoming kind of a thing of the past. Like with Spielberg, he was like that. Scorsese, Francis Ford Coppola was like that. Like it's hard to get to that level of I am a star director, and Nolan is like that. Really, it's him. Maybe you could say I would say him, James Gunn, maybe a little bit, and Jordan Peele. He's kind of climbing up there to be like, okay, I'll check out this new Jordan Peele thing. But this is only his second movie, and it's a hell of a way to come to kind of come out the gate. Like he's letting you know he's going to be a little bit different. He's going to be what they call an auteur. So I appreciate the ambition, and I like some of the elements of the story. I actually think Carrie Ann Moss as Natalie. I think she has probably the most cold scene in the movie where she basically just destroys this man's wife, just roasts the shit out of his wife, calls him all sorts of stuff. We're not going to repeat here.
I ain't say that you're gonna do shit to
I'm
me
not.
because you're gonna remember it.
That is the most. You ain't gonna do shit. If y'all seen Dead Presidents, that scene towards the end where Juanita is arguing with Anthony, and she just says, "I'm fucking him," and it's just the venom in her voice, the way that she said that, that is outdone tenfold by the speech that she gives. She said, "I can say whatever I want. Fuck you, fuck your wife, your whore wife. Hell, we gonna still be friends after this. We might even be lovers after this. You never gonna know." And he's
And she
just
did bag
panicking
him
because
too.
he, dog,
Bruh, she
took all the pit. She fucked him up. That is cold as hell, but it's just like, yo, that's some cold shit that she did.
so
That is,
He
she gives
so
killed
a
her
really good performance
boyfriend.
in this,
what you say?
He
bruh.
killed her boyfriend.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
she was just any kind of way with him. That's
So
just
my
no
problem.
complete
mercy.
out cold.
So that was another part of my problem with this film is the fact of how long is his fucking memory? Because it really feel like, I mean, at points in time he was supposed to be like 5 minute Bob. Well, what was it, like 10-second Bob from something about Mary? Not something about Mary. 51st Dates. Y'all
We
remember?
just,
Yeah, Rob Schneider's
it's been a
character.
while.
Yeah. So like they had this character like in 51st Dates. I don't remember his name, but
That was Rob Schneider's character.
no, that wasn't Rob Schneider's character. It was
Who played that?
God damn,
It's too
51st
bad we
Dates.
don't have like Google or something right in
Well,
front of you. Like we all got these
man, I can't,
machines.
bro.
I
I
don't know.
mean,
So
yeah.
51st dates. Give me a second. I'm looking it up. 51st dates. And you
So,
said his name is
oh,
what? 10
Tom,
second
10-second
Bob or
Tom,
some
10,
shit.
10, 10, 10,
Okay.
10-second Tom. And he
Yeah.
was like, "Hi, I'm Tom." You know what I mean? Because he kept forgetting shit. And so, if for moments it was like, I love the fact that like they had a situation where, for example, he was on the chase. He was being chased by somebody, and he was like, "Oh, I'm supposed to be chasing him." And the guy turns around and shoots at him. He's like,
Nope.
"Oh,
He's
he's
chasing
chasing me."
me.
You don't be chasing me.
Yo,
But I was like, how long are these fucking like breaks
it's a good
in his
question, man.
memory? Because it seems like some of them is like 10 seconds. Some of them seem like they like 5 to 10, 15 minutes. Because like, wouldn't that scene that he had with the prostitute or whatever like that? Wouldn't he forgot like what the fuck was going on right then and there?
Well, if he can keep his mind on things, then he's good. And so when he was doing that scene with Natalie and he was looking for the pen, he got distracted off of what he needed to write down to look for the thing to write it down with. And that's what
Okay.
triggered his memory loss.
That's
So he
weird,
just
dog.
gotta it's like if you in the flow state, you gotta stay in that flow state. And you know how like if you in do a basketball game or whatever, practice or whatever, you gotta go to the bathroom
Mhm.
because you're doing good, you just stay in that mug, and then you go hit the bathroom, you come back and like your whole rhythm is off. You're
Mhm.
like, hold on, I gotta get back in my stride.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's never happened to y'all, but
No, I get what you're
It
saying.
does. Oh yeah, that happens a lot where it'll be I'm doing something and then if I take my eye off of it for a second, can't remember what I'm doing. So I definitely get that. And shout out to Yav Kai on
Yeah,
YouTube. How you
yeah,
doing tonight? We're talking about Memento from 2000.
yeah. What up,
But
Kaiser?
yeah,
How you doing, man?
I know what you're coming from. JT, history. You got another point you want to bring up?
Well,
Sorry,
I
didn't
feel like that took away from the movie, man. It felt like the time jump, like how we was trying to figure out like what time period is this, like how many days it is. You know, the flow of time didn't feel right sometimes, but I get it that it's supposed to have taken over a period of time. It's just the fact of I guess maybe that's part of what Christopher Nolan wanted. Is it to feel like, hey, maybe you forgot about your time, or maybe it feels like a restart, a reboot of time. And I don't think that meant the same thing, at least for me. From I was retaining the same information, so my sense of time did not work the same exact way. I think for this film, but yeah, I had a hard time with that, man. But go ahead, man. What's the next trivia that we have for Jamel?
Well, as far as any trivia or any facts, as it relates to the movie, as I said, this is the second movie out the gate from Christopher Nolan and before his Insomnia remake, which was the first movie that he did for Warner Brothers, and that helped build a relationship that lasted all the way until the release of this movie that just came out, Oppenheimer, because as with most things, COVID kind of fucked everything up, and Warner Brothers choosing to release everything that year on HBO Max. That got Christopher Nolan a little ornery. It's debatable whether that was the right thing to do health wise, but it was more, hey, let's get these eyes on HBO Max. Fucked up, kind of damaged their relationship, and now he messed around and released a masterpiece, which people are calling perhaps his best movie, Oppenheimer, for Universal. So
Okay.
it's just right out. It's amazing. Like that's a relationship. Those relationships don't last typically too long between director and studio like that. Directors, hop around, go anywhere, and so it really does show how important those two movies are and how the respect that he had for the studio.
Correct.
But for this movie, what did y'all think of some of the casting choices, particularly Guy Pearce in this fucking year 2000 ass Brad Pitt hairstyle that he had in this movie? What did you think of him as the lead character? And could y'all see somebody else doing this? I got real, Edward Norton would have killed it in this role.
Yeah.
Just switched Joe Pantoliano.
Joey Pants.
Joey Pantoliano. If they would have just switched Teddy and Leonard, that would have been an interesting movie to see there. I think Joe would have kept it a little more goofy, with the incompetence or whatever. But Guy Pearce is the more straight, manipulative bastard, and then he gets killed by the goofy sidekick screwball with bad memory. That would have been an interesting film in itself.
So I'm actually gonna go a different route. I'm actually gonna go with I would have loved to see Jim Carrey do this one because he just came off of 23 with this film. I think he just came off of 23 with this film.
I got another one. This one. We lost him recently. I think Lance Reddick could have did really well in this role. Like circa 2000, this is pre-Wire, post-Oz. I think Lance Reddick would have done really well.
See, I don't think
Lance that lead role.
I felt like if we put Lance Reddick, I don't know. I feel like he would have been a good job replacing Joe. I feel like he's just too cool and too suave. You see what happens when you give him too much to do all at once in the scene. When it comes to like Resident Evil, like obviously Resident Evil wasn't the greatest, right? But when you give him too much to do in one scene, especially like something like this, I'm not saying that he's incapable of acting. I don't think that he's a horrible actor. I just feel like this particular type of thing doesn't fit the mold for him. So you need a person who can show that they clearly are completely in distress at the same time while holding their cool because they completely forgot about that stress. So and I don't think that Lance Reddick could have added that. Lance Reddick is just too fucking smooth for a lot of these damn scenes.
I think you underestimate his acting ability.
It's not the fact that I underestimate. I just think that like it's like if you put Tom Brady.
Better fits. So
exactly like Tom Brady, putting Tom Brady as a defensive end. Like you mean Tom Brady is the GOAT, but come on.
What about Don Cheadle? Like Don Cheadle is smooth, right? But I think he has like Lance. I obviously think he has that ability, but I think Don Cheadle also could have pulled off the Leonard role in this one because you don't really need like an outstanding personality. Leonard is kind of sort of an everyman. Like he could be literally anybody. Doesn't have to be some white dude. Doesn't have to be, doesn't have to be anything specific. He's Leonard. And so anyone could fill this role, but I do think you need somebody who can kind of embrace that. And I think Norton is definitely like when I saw this movie and watched him, like Ed Norton probably would have been like a perfect choice for this. But what about Mr. Pantoliano, Joey Pants, as Teddy, as John G? How y'all think he did?
I think that he did fantastic. I think that like he at points in times it just seemed like he acted circles around Guy Pearce. I just feel like kind of Guy Pearce tried to like really put all of his art into this one, and Joe was like, "Hold my liquor" sometimes, and same thing with Carrie Ann as well. I felt like they kind of carried Guy throughout this film.
that's how his life was. He
Yeah,
kept getting carried by different people, and some carried him in ways he didn't want to go, and some,
yeah,
took him for their own uses.
yeah. So, about to say, like, that's what I was going to kind of say is that maybe that was a by choice, is to make it seem like he was actually
But I
kind.
think Teddy was so ridiculous, too ridiculous for the situation. He
Okay.
was so upbeat, but it had been because he'd been riding him for a year. You know what I'm saying, or over a
Mhm.
year,
Yeah.
and just to have this, he found the joy that Natalie found, and he had just been basking in it. That's why he was always like, "Hey, come on," because like none of this shit matters
Hmm.
until it fucking mattered.
Yeah.
His number came up because he realized he was playing him.
Yeah.
And that's
Mhm.
all he needed was that one moment of clarity to turn it around. And I think that bodaciousness worked against him because he had seen it before. And if he remembered anything with that Natalie stuff, you treating me like this because you know I'm just going to forget, that's a problem. So that was what
Yeah.
started the whole thing, was that recognition. Oh, you just trying to play me. Okay. And that I think really because he was acting so hype. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
do y'all think he was a little too extra?
Yeah.
A little too
But I think that that was intentional. But I think that if he would have just kept being the detective, it would have been cool. But when he started becoming like kind of sloppy and saying "I'm your friend" kind of like thing, with like going to like the hotel room and stuff like that, I felt like that's when we started to see the sloppiness. When he went to go pick him up at the actual tattoos shop, and when he rode with Natalie to her house and shit like that, that felt sloppy. I think that he probably would have never had the issues that he had if he would have just been like, I mean, all right, go do your thing, and I'll call you when I can, when I have a lead on your actual wife's case. So he would have always been like, this is the detective, instead of actually thinking that like, oh, I not only do I have a hitman that's kind of like there without actually being able to be like attached to this, but also he had a friend, and that I think that made it worse. Is the fact that he kept making him a friend, so it made it easier for Lenny to actually remember him and make it to ultimately to Teddy's downfall.
Don't call him Lenny. Only his wife calls him Lenny, and he doesn't like that. It's Leonard.
Leonard, oh yeah, yeah, Leonard. He did say that in the film.
Many
So
times.
many times
He
he did
said
say
it a
that. He
lot.
did. He said it, and he did say it.
He's got this short-term memory thing where he can't remember and he can't make new memories, and so he's got a condition.
Yeah. There's a whole film structure on this, dude. That's so fucking wild. Somebody did like
Yeah, they
timelines.
have that online, and it is again, it's ambitious. It's an ambitious thing to do for any director, let alone again somebody who's this is pretty much your second major, or not even for a big studio, but this is pretty much what puts him on, like what helps get him on the radar for the larger projects. Um, are there any other characters in the background? I think the other character that really did stand out to me in the other sequence was everything involving Sammy,
Sammy,
because
yeah.
that seems like hell. Because you can't watch a TV show because your memory is so quick, you can't retain any of the information. That has to be infuriating. That has to be for motherfuckers who love TV like us. That's hell to just be like, all right, 5 seconds later, okay, what's the show about? And you can never absorb any of that information. And then how the story ends with the whole diabetes thing and his wife just, hey, it's time for my medicine, and he can't step out of it. He can't remember. And so that is that's the part that's among the after the fucking Tupac level hit 'em up style disc that Natalie gave Leonard's wife. The same stuff is going to be the main thing that like sticks with me from this movie. He's like, damn,
Yeah.
that is hell. That is a
Yeah.
type of hell.
That almost made me creep up into his like slumper stage for this one. It's like trying to like do a slumper, and I'm saying this a little bit earlier for my rating, but like I kind of wanted to be like, yeah, I'm gonna fall right in the middle with this one because of the fact that I love the fact that they did this part where they say that like, no, Sammy didn't. Sammy was a con man. the whole situation with this was actually you doing that to your wife and you killing your actual wife. That was a mind fuck, and I felt like that was a better movie.
I
Is the
thought that
relationship
moment was
between him and
glossed over a little too hard too.
exactly,
They skipped
yeah,
right over that. Like he should
that's
have. He should remember that shit. You know, there's something's
yeah,
wrong. But he
yeah,
said, I don't know. It felt a little rushed.
yeah, and I really really wish that we would have more movie with that. That's what I felt like when I finished watching. I was like, fuck, I wish I would have had that. So I've had this like Sammy thing, and then it came off of what's that fucking I'm gonna use the internet now. Leonardo DiCaprio movie that he had when he thought he was a spy, but he was a detective.
Shutter Island or something
Yeah,
like
Shutter
that.
Island. Like, yeah, that came off very hard, Shutter Island. I was like, yeah, that's really fucking good. So that movie was like beyond its time. I thought that was very, very smart. I thought that was very, very creative by Jonathan Nolan and as well as Christopher Nolan to put that in the film. That was fucking good. That was like really sly.
If they were to do this nowadays, I think that'd be a bigger chunk of the movie because that is like that revelation is like, goddamn, he like it's so repressed, and because he can't trust his memory,
Yes.
and as the viewer, can we really trust what tech? Like we can't trust anything.
Yeah.
Towards the end of the movie, fully
crazy.
And so I think if this was say again Christopher Nolan circa now or like when he's kind of riding a high, I think this movie turns out to be like it's already good. It got inducted into the Library of Congress back in 2017. It's already good, but it would have been elevated even more with more experience Nolan, in my opinion. But
Do
it's
you ever wish like we could go back
oh,
and have the
ahead.
director's cut of some old movies? Because this would be one of them. Be like, hey, Chris, can you like just do a couple more scenes, cut a couple more in there, make this mug perfect?
Yeah, I would have been okay. I would have been okay with a 2.5 hour movie if they would have added this. I would have been okay with this.
I would have waited for the end because it really didn't start getting good until we had that. He beat the shit out of me. Who died? Scene.
Yeah,
that was the scene that really things started to pop off.
Yeah,
if you didn't make it there, then you really didn't get to experience, the hitting the fan escalating.
Correct.
But that was, I think, when it started to the cleverness started to play off because he had all this boring stuff overnight, and this, that, and the other. But that was when some ish popped off, and that's why he was like, "Why are you still in town?" When they came through.
Yeah.
And so that was the first.
I agree.
He got in some shit. Like, why are you still in town? The cop is telling him, "Why are you still in town?"
Yeah.
Like you should have been ran.
Right.
Yeah.
Directors going back and having the ability to gloss up their old movies. I think that is an interesting thing. You do risk the George Lucas, like what he did with some of the original Star Wars. You have that risk, but man, it'd be interesting to see Steven Spielberg, like not now because Spielberg, he's close to the end, but like Steven Spielberg from like 10 years ago, a decade and a half ago, go back and do like Jaws or Close Encounter. Like those movies are good themselves. It's just like more experience, more time, better vision. What can you do? And so this is one where I'm like, Chris could probably do this a lot better nowadays. But let's get into the movie review. This week we are doing one of the earliest movies from a celebrated and again auteur director. It is Christopher Nolan's 2000 film Memento, starring Guy Pearce. We have Carrie Ann Moss, Joe Pantoliano. I'm not Italian, so forgive me for that pronunciation. This is Christopher Nolan's. This is his step out. He becomes kind of a cult director after this. He gets that rep built up, and he starts to build that momentum into becoming who we see nowadays. The man who gave us the Dark Knight trilogy, the man who gave us Inception and Stellar, so many other great movies. So before we get into the meat of the movie, What are y'all thoughts on Christopher Nolan as a director, and what are some of y'all like go-to Nolan films?
I'm gonna let you go first, JT, on this one.
What are my thoughts on Christopher Nolan? He's one of my favorite directors. So, I mean, I really like the way that he plays with different ways of telling a story. And this is his like first big film after he did like a kind of a small independent film. So this is really his coming out party to Hollywood, and I think this is a pretty good splash. But he has so many other cool films that like tell a story a different way, like Dunkirk. Dunkirk was like if you had a GoPro and just walked around, like it wasn't a Hollywood scene. It just felt like you were just walking around like a ghost, seeing all this stuff happen. And then obviously, you know, not everything works as intended, like the one with John David Washington. What was that one called? I couldn't make
Tenet.
it through that movie.
Tenet.
Yeah,
Tenet.
Tenet. I couldn't make
Tenet.
it through the movie, y'all. It
Bruh.
was I just turned that mess
Bruh.
off. And you know, so sometimes he's got really good ideas, and sometimes he's a little ambitious. But you know, as we all know, Nolan directed the Batman trilogy. That's what he's probably best known for. But it's not arguably, it is the best version of Batman that we've had on the cinema so far. And I think that's just because he takes the subject seriously, the appropriate amount. And so, really excited to get into this movie this week.
So,
What about you, history?
I'm gonna go based off of the writing and the directing for him, and I'm gonna take out one part, which is Batman. Um, I know that like JT probably gonna disagree with me, but like
I mean, we almost did last week. We almost did The Dark Knight.
correct, yeah.
So, just,
I feel like though, as far as Christopher Nolan films, I feel like I would love space age Christopher Nolan films. I love Interstellar. I love the aspect of like the dream concept. So, and I count that as a space kind of thing. Is Inception as well.
pocket dimensions, yeah.
Yeah, I love that fit that shit. I don't like his grounded stuff. So I know that Oppenheimer is getting kind of like, you mean a lot of praise and stuff like that. But you got to think about like stuff that's like Dunkirk. I know is shot well. I just didn't feel like I could digest it well. We also got to remember that like Christopher Nolan is like part of the writers for Man of Steel. You know, like that was okay. It wasn't super great. So I like the fact that like it was grounded with this one. The Prestige is actually one of his other better ones when he wrote as well. So I like that shit. I like the fucking like interstellar kind of like space age kind of shit. But Man of Steel is not bad. It's just not great. Man of Steel was the story was helped created by what Christopher Nolan and as a writer. So
Well, I mean, yeah, I'm sure the story was probably a little.
no. I'm not saying that Man of Steel is his fault. I'm just saying that like he was
Yeah.
involved in the writing. So I mean, maybe General Zod is the reason why it was good, because of Christopher Nolan. But Inception and Interstellar, I would say those are my kind of like my go-tos and the ones that make me think like that man can make a fucking movie. So I would say that would be my big ones.
But one of the things that makes his movie so interesting is he takes a hard concept.
Correct.
He explains it away. He explains it to you fully. He explains the whole thing by the end if you pay attention.
Yes.
And if you don't get something, it's probably not because he didn't do enough to explain it. You
Correct.
know what I'm saying? He made the movie well in most cases, but sometimes it is, and those are the exceptions that I think keep him from being on the Spielberg level of reliability. You know what I mean? Because, like, you know,
for me, sorry.
One last thing. I imagine he goes on the Man of Steel and they say, hey, here's our script. Help us with it. And, you know, they already had something fleshed out.
Yeah.
But if he started MS from jump and was like, and then Superman kills this guy because gritty, you know, then, you know, I want to know what he had to say about that. So maybe I'll look that up later. I want to know how much.
I'm a fan of Nolan.
Go ahead, finish what you're saying, Jamel.
I am a fan of Nolan. I haven't seen Tenet because, quite honestly, it seemed like a lot. Oppenheimer is on the list of movies I plan on seeing before summer is fully out. That, and of course, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Mutant Mayhem, and Interstellar and Inception. I think those two together, those are really good movies. Those again, ambitious, and I think they like show his flexibility as a filmmaker. But y'all know what I'm here. It's the Batman movies, and
Mhm.
I am a defender of the Dark Knight Rises. I love Bane. I, he is quotable. There is a lot of hilarity in just Bane himself. The one thing that I wish, that we get in the future Bane is to actually make dude Hispanic, make him Latino because Bane is Latino. He is Cuban. That's kind
Correct.
of like I need that in a movie. But
Yes.
there's a lot for me personally. I'm a defender of the Dark Knight Rises. The Dark Knight has a significant place in my heart because not only in terms of movie history, that year 2008 with the summer season basically kicking off with Iron Man and building the MCU. This coming out in July. It was the time that I saw it. It was a rough time. My mom had died like a week or two before I actually saw this movie. And I was at this college program at Michigan State. We were there. I had to leave, stay home for a few days for my mom's memorial. Then I headed back. Then we saw The Dark Knight, and it was one of those things that like really got my mind in a better place because it was something that I could fully enjoy. And so I will never have a bad thing to say about The Dark Knight. Batman Begins, I'm gonna be honest, in a lot of ways, I fucks with Batman Begins a little bit more than The Dark Knight because one, it's the best Christian Bale Batman voice. It is the least gravelly, and he's the clearest to understand it now. But it really does feel like a Bruce Wayne story in Batman Begins, and I appreciate that. I think that's an aspect that doesn't always get fully fleshed out in Batman stories, and this one was really the first one where it's like, okay, we spend a significant amount of time getting to know Bruce, and then him being Batman and going on and doing everything. But you have to know Bruce before you can fully know the character of Batman. So
Yeah.
I appreciate all the work that he's done. Memento, we'll get to that a little bit later with my rating. Memento, not quite up there for me, but I I respect
So,
Nolan as a film director. I'm not gonna say he's my favorite, but I respect it a lot.
so I'm actually gonna go a little bit of a different route with you when it comes to talking about like because JT, I mean your question was about Christopher Nolan films. Tenet kind of fucking annoyed me when it came to like the films, duh. And I haven't really fully like digested it, duh. But I just knew I was like, bruh, it's a John David Washington film, and people like, man, you got to go see this film, man. You got to go for the sound and shit like that. And I was like, bruh, seriously, y'all the same people who shitted on fucking Glass. I'm pretty sure that this film is gonna be fucking bad. When I went to go watch this film, bruh, I just the film was just nothing but bass and just sound. So I really felt like the movie that's didn't have a sense of it. But
You
I'm actually
know,
go ahead.
I feel like if they did something funny and like on theme with the subtitles,
Mhm.
well, they did that, it would have been okay.
Yeah.
If they had like the subtitles like written in the walls or something like that, kind of just artsy type of whatever. They
Yes.
could have gotten away with it. What was the video game that had that recently? There's been a couple of them. Uh was it No Way Out? I don't remember. Oh, but like they superimpose stuff on the walls or whatever. BioShock does that a
The
lot. You know what
Bioshock.
I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
But that kind of, I think if they had done something and added the subtitles and just made it as part of the presentation, that would have been kind of cool.
Yeah.
And it might have really helped the watchability of that movie because it was like you're gonna if you're trying to hear that movie properly, you're gonna mess all of your surround sound settings up.
Correct.
It's I don't know what happened, but you just can't hear shit.
Yeah.
So it's
It's
basically you kind of properly can't view this at home.
the film was just bro.
Maybe
Yeah.
he engineered it for a specific theater or something, but
Yeah.
it did not work on the TV very well. And
No.
when you're sitting there and like when the voices start to sound like background noise, that's when everything goes in one ear and out the other. And so when if you can tell that the voice is saying something and you can make out those words have meaning when they're in a language you can understand. But if that
Oh.
mess is lower than the stuff, like why am I straining to hear your movie, dog? Yeah, no, that's just a
Um.
bad time at the theater.
There was a John Goodman movie that was like that a few years back, and that's when I thought about when I seen Tenet was the fact of Tenet. Um.
10 Cloverfield Lane.
No, I think it's called Captive State or something like that. Uh.
That's the only
John,
John Goodman movie I can recall over the last couple of years.
yeah, John
That and him
Goodman.
being
They had a movie called, I think it was called Captive State. Yep, Captive State. It was with your boy who plays from Wu-Tang Clan. He plays RZA and Wu-Tang Clan. He was like the main character in that too. That film felt like it was fucking just nothing but just techno music. And every now and then they'll bring an alien involved and shit like that and just techno music. And so whereas Tenet was like dibbling and dabbling with that concept of time travel, I guess, and it just didn't fucking mold as well as it's supposed to. It didn't do nothing at all. But I'm gonna ask you a question because of the fact that you brought up something, Jamel. One of my movies that I would never sit there and say is a bad movie, even though it hasn't really got a good rating everywhere else, is Biker Boys. And the reason being is because of the fact that when Biker Boys came out, about my dad passed away that Sunday of 2000, January 2003. My dad died on Super Bowl Sunday, and I think I told y'all that story. Biker Boys came out like that Wednesday or Thursday or some shit like that. And so when I seen that movie, unfortunately, the very fucking first sequence in the film was the dude seeing his dad die after a motorcycle accident. But like the rest of the movie was pretty fucking good. I got definitely introduced to Megan Good being an older person at that point in time, so that made me feel kind of fucking special at 16. 14.
See, I didn't get Megan Good as older person until Waist Deep because she was in Roll Bounce and she was still supposed to be playing young. I didn't get Megan Good is grown until Waist Deep. Now, granted, I haven't seen Biker Boys before.
Oh, bro, the whole first fucking like 10, like not even 10 minutes, but like 5 minutes of the movie is like they see Megan Good walk in the actual biker club, and everybody's like, damn, like looking at her the whole time, dog, and she's bad at it. So, but beyond that, that's not what made me interested. I love fucking the fact of like, even though technically the spoiler of the story is the fact that Lawrence Fishburne wound up being the real father in that, but the aspect of like finding surrogacy fathers and like other like mentorship per se, and trying to establish a name for yourself. I think that always kind of was a message that was kind of honed into me or nailed into me from that film, and I read into it a little bit more. So when you talk about Batman, what was the messaging and what was the stuff that kind of got you to like say, I would probably never say anything bad about this movie ever again because after your mom passed?
The Dark Knight. Oh,
Yeah.
one, the it's the performances, specifically Heath Ledger as the Joker. I think it's the second best version of the Joker after Mark Hamill. I think as it's captivating. Like you can't take your eyes off of that film, and it is like everything that man does. It's just something that catches your attention, and the interrogation scene with him and Batman, where it's basically a breakdown of we're the same. It's such a good, like it's Christian Bale acting his ass off, and it's Heath Ledger owning everything, and then Batman losing his mind and beating him up, and Joker's just laughing. It's the perfect encapsulation of that character because for the Joker, everything's a joke, nothing serious, and Batman can't do anything to really harm you. You can beat me all you want to. You got all these muscles, all this strength, does you no good, and it's just Heath in his bag. And so rest in peace to Heath Ledger. But that drew me to the movie, and it was just a distraction mentally.
Gotcha.
The main thing is the movie itself is quality, but it's a distraction from where else my mind was.
Okay. JT,
I've actually got another question for you guys.
Okay.
So something that I occasionally just think about is it's a question that I've asked y'all time and again, and I'm gonna ask y'all again for this movie. Like, what actor could fill the role of this other actor in this movie? Looking at Christopher Nolan's catalog, who's another director that you think they could do as good of a job on this project as Nolan did with it? Like, so his movies, Memento, Insomnia, the Batman trilogy, Prestige, Inception, Interstellar, Dunkirk, Tenet, and Oppenheimer. JT, is there, of those movies that he's got, is there any where you're like, ooh, you get this to Steven Spielberg, he might do something with it, for example?
I mean, Jordan Peele probably. He's got that out of the box thinking, way of telling the story that I think would go well
With this
with
film,
some
yeah.
of
Jordan
Nolan's
Peele,
ideas.
Inception.
Yeah, so like, but I don't think Jordan Peele really has these deep concepts that he's trying to put into his movies. You know what I mean? Like, Us wasn't. It was not really a psychological thriller. You know what I'm saying? It was just a thriller. And so I think the messing with the messaging that Nolan really pulls off in a lot of his movies is the thing that Jordan Peele would. I want to see him rise to the challenge. I think he'd make a great film with it. Because like Nope was very simple. It was straightforward, and that's why it was such a slow burn. And something's out there. It's probably an alien or something, but you just don't get to see what it is until the end. And Signs was kind of the same way, but Signs, wasn't. Shyamalan has gone off the rails a little bit with some of his projects, and he's a little bit more of a miss than a Nolan is.
Gotcha.
But Signs was also like, they kind of helped. They held the aliens back right until the end. And sometimes I think if you know what you're up against, that can kind of be the start of the fight. But so I think they shortened the movie a little bit by doing the reveal so far so late. So by having Jordan Peele having to do something like show the beginning, show the beginning as the actual finale, and then make that make sense. Man, he had to make something really cool to make that work, and he'd do it.
See, when you think about a movie like Signs, right, and you see somebody hold it back, I think maybe this is where the MCU did it so good with Thanos, is the fact that you seen that purple face and you were like, that's there, right? But you didn't understand like how much of a threat he was until he fucking folded Hulk in the first 10 minutes of the movie. And so like,
God damn.
but I feel like I'm gonna count that as a beginning of the Paul fucker. Bro, Bruce Banner got fucking folded so quick.
Such a terrible fashion. So disrespectful.
No, did he make the man want to come out?
Like JT, like what? Like wait. We've had this as a salty edition. Show
you want to have this as a salty edition? Hulk got the Hulk beaten out of him. That's like one of y'all getting beat white. Do you know what I'm saying?
Hulk had a whole armor on and didn't want to come out. No, he had armor on and didn't want to fucking come out.
Terrible.
JT, you talk about this all the time, disrespecting and not really acknowledging his character. There is no version of the Hulk where he would be bitched to that extent. Even if the Hulk and Banner are beefing, they would figure some shit out. And because the writers of this damn movie
to Loki.
Yeah, what makes it worse?
Because these writers can't think of this, it's just like, bro, if that was like a struggle throughout the movie and you actually wrote that and we get some sense of Hulk is actually shook at Thanos and we're seeing him and Banner communicate, maybe that could work. But instead, we don't get any of that. And then in Endgame, Hulk is a fucking weak ass.
Completely left out of the MCU is Banner's communication with the Hulk.
Yeah.
We never see him talk to Hulk, buddy. I need you. Shut up, Banner. I want to talk. Hulk, no speak or whatever the freak you want to say,
Yeah,
depending on how intelligent they make the Hulk.
yeah, but they
But
did it for
it's
like
one of them
a
things
scene.
that was a big struggle and a big source of growth. That's why we got Professor Hulk.
Yeah,
And like they really gloss over the fact of their ability to go back and forth and Hulk to
yeah,
retain certain information from Bruce.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so like they are two different entities. Are they the same person? That whole thing is not really explored. And
Yes.
that's a sense of great Hulk lore that honestly they could just dig into for a good 2, 3, 5 minutes and really expand that character a whole lot and explain away a lot of the things that's going on.
You,
And
you
if as opposed to Hulk just be like, oh, he's not coming out, he's never done this. You know what I'm saying? Like that would have been the time to go in there and be like, Hulk, buddy, come on now. Hulk is the strongest. Okay. He's cheating because he has those Infinity Stones. If he didn't have those, you would win. Right?
Mhm.
I'm
Yeah.
with you. Let's team up. Buddy, ha. And they go out there and do it together.
So
But
I feel like that was a missed opportunity though, because like
that's what a superhero would do, and Disney doesn't know.
Yeah, but also it's a missed opportunity because of the fact that like that was a time that you could have addressed mental health in superheroes. And there was only a few fucking like shows that did that, right? Superhero films. So you think about like I think it was like what was the fuck? Titans. Titans did that shit.
Damn.
Where they had a
You know
therapist.
what?
and shit
No,
like that.
hold up. At the end of Iron Man 2, was it the end Iron Man 2 that he was
3.
talking to Banner?
It was Iron Man 3.
It was Iron Man 3. In the end, he was talking to Banner, and Banner was like, I'm not that kind of doctor.
Yeah.
That was the first time they brought it up.
Yeah.
Officially. But that mess was not, it wasn't funny.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. You needed that's a moment that you could have brought up mental health. And then you could have even like slid in that maybe this is a Jekyll and Hyde kind of fucking thing. And that's the reason why he's not talking to the specific thing and have that connection with them. And then I feel like when you had that kind of like that moment when he was in the Hulk bus and he was like, Hulk, come on. That's when we could have seen the evolution. And then that actual Hulk, Professor Hulk eventually comes out of him. But ultimately, I think that was a missed opportunity for the mental health aspect of it. But
because Hollywood offers no solutions for that.
Correct.
I think they should.
Points I want to. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. What you were saying, JT?
I mean, you have a doctor on set. Shit.
Oh no, go right ahead.
Yeah.
Oh no, go right ahead, JT. Sorry,
I'm just ranting.
No, I was just gonna say that there's because this is not an MCU related show.
No, it's not.
Apologize for getting us off the rails.
That was actually that got my point off of it too. So my bad. Apologize. Finish what you were saying.
So there were two just before we get onto the subject and dive deep into the rest of the show. One, Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes did have scenes where you would see Banner and Hulk interact and actually have some type of relationship. Also, Young Justice handled the mental health thing because in every season of Young Justice, there's some type of fuck incident that happens, particularly in the I want to say failsafe episode where they go through this horrible situation. Mm-hmm. The whole next episode is pretty much dedicated to finding out how these children reacted to this traumatic event and seeing how each of them do that. We saw that in this past season with Beast Boy and his mental health struggle at the death of Superboy. Spoilers. Like it's been done in other avenues, and it's just a shame that the biggest studios in the world can't get that one aspect right. Because if it don't tell a joke or if it's not actually enough, we're not interested. But so let's get into
that actually got me off my so is the part about Thanos kind of got me off my point a little bit. So to answer your question about Christopher Nolan, Ridley Scott would have been a great person to replace Christopher Nolan. Sure. You're talking about the guy who does the Alien franchise, and he did so many other like films that has been fantastic. I would say if we were doing the Interstellar films, if we were doing like Man of Steel and shit like that, I would have loved to see Ridley Scott's Superman. I would have loved to see Ridley Scott's Interstellar film. I would have loved to see Ridley Scott do Interception. But I would love to see if James Cameron just throwing it out there, a James Cameron version of this Memento movie. I think that would have been a pretty fucking heavy film if we would have got that.
That could have worked. For me, I'll go one real quick. I think a Martin Scorsese Batman movie would be fascinating to see.
You are saying what I've been saying
that'd
for
be-
fucking podcasts over and over again.
But Scorsese's a hater, so he ain't gonna do it.
Bruh.
True. That's true. But let's
fucking
actually get
Falcone
into our world-renowned movie review segment. As y'all know, we do movie reviews every week here on Historical Voices from the East Side. And we're getting into Memento from the year 2000 on this one.
Okay. So, Jamel, man, bruh, quick question, man. Did you see the news recently?
Which news story?
Oh, did you?
I've
see
seen the
Lizzo?
news.
Did you see Lizzo in the news?
Ooh, I have not heard about Lizzo. I've seen like people have reactions to Lizzo, but not the actual story. What happened?
Not looking good. It's not looking good. So there was a couple. Oh, go ahead, JT. You look like you got sort of.
I read the rebuttal, dog. You go ahead and give him the first spiel.
All right. So right now, it seems like there's a bunch of people who are now coming out saying that Lizzo has been harboring and basically kind of nurturing hostile and uncomfortable work environments. Let's say it like that. So everything from like her dance coach actually trying to basically rub off religion on people, force religion on people, but also on top of that, Lizzo having a second audition that was 12 hours long. They had to re-audition because Lizzo felt like, hey, you did something illegal, so you got to re-audition for your actual spot again that you already have while you're on tour. Then also in Amsterdam, apparently
audition like Trick. They know all the steps.
Yes.
12 hours.
12-hour re-audition. Yes.
That ain't a show.
Yeah.
That's a week's worth of dancing.
Yes.
Dog.
And then also apparently in Amsterdam, while there was a stripper, she was apparently, I guess, peer pressuring one of the people who was actually on tour with her to actually eat bananas out of the orifices or the spaces in certain of the dancers as well.
That's disgusting. Which spaces in particular?
We're going to just, yeah. And then the biggest one was that a lot of people kind of like talking about on Facebook and everything. Apparently, she got kind of, there was a lady that was actually, allegedly, there was a lady who was actually gaining too much weight. And Lizzo kind of fat shamed her and basically took her off the actual tour because she was too much. She was too heavy.
Look, hold on, though. If she gained too much weight and couldn't hit her steps, that's not wrong. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, it seemed to me that you had to get down with it. And that was the whole point of auditioning. And if Lizzo was just trying to be like, hey, y'all, we love big girls here, but if you can't hit the steps, you got to hit the steps on the elliptical.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, then Lizzo would be in the right if they can't keep up.
Correct.
But to me, a non-professional dancer, 12 hours sounds like a excessive time.
Yes.
Well, you were already on tour working.
Correct.
And so there's a lot of details have not come out, but I did read Lizzo's response.
Yeah.
And it was weak sauce. It was no apology. It was not even like a good defense. She was over here like, I normally don't talk about this, but my character's been called into question. I just try to do whatever I can do the best I can for my music and my fans. And these girls was doing something they were already told was unacceptable. That's all she said about them. And the rest of it was about her. It was like 4 little slide pages, whatever the frick. But I was not impressed with the rebuttal. And if she had to say some stuff like, look, the simple fact is you got to hit these steps, she was falling behind. So that was the problem. No, if and it's because you gained an extra whatever on tour, that is something that has to go into consideration as a professional dancer. You know what I mean? So we don't have all the details, but the whole situation looks terrible, especially since Lizzo's supposed to be all about body positivity. But like, I don't know. She said we got to fire you because you too fat, and old girl was like, "What do you mean I'm too fat? Like you can't hit the steps." It is because of the weight gain. I mean, that is that really body shaming? Because I don't think it is. If you talking about metrics, if it can be measured, it can be improved. So if that's the problem, I really don't think I wouldn't consider that body shaming.
Yes. Yeah. It just feels like if you have a standards, man, then that's definitely the standards. But I feel like also, here's my point, just for a friend. If you do have the standard, then make sure that's articulated. Now, here's the part I would say as a person who is in this, because apparently they're suing. If I was Lizzo's lawyers, I will pull up that contract. And if that contract says, like, if you cannot keep up to these actual like performances that you're supposed to, yes, you can get fucking removed. And that can also be because of the fact that you are out of shape. Lizzo is a heavyset girl. Most of the dancers are heavyset girls. So if she's sitting there saying, bruh, like you pushing 350 and you can't keep your fucking steps, you know what I mean? You can't keep your steps. Now, if you 350 and you can move like Bronson Reed, if you're a wrestler, you get that joke, that comment. But if you can move like a fucking freight train still, then do your thing. And it just seems like that's a wild concept. So I'm going to quickly read the statement that Lizzo put out. She said, "These last few days have been gut-wrenchingly difficult and overwhelmingly disappointing. My work ethic, morals, and respectfulness has been questioned. My character has been criticized. Usually, I choose not to respond to false allegations, but these are unbelievable as they sound and too outrageous to not to be addressed. These sensationalized stories are coming from former employees who have already been publicly admitted that they were told their behaviors on tour was inappropriate and unprofessional."
But we
So
don't know what that behavior was.
we
And
don't.
that's the whole point.
Yeah.
So the fact that she didn't actually spit no details
Yeah,
is because she know a lawsuit is coming.
correct.
But her statement was a bunch of nothing. She didn't get out in front of nothing. She
Correct.
just said, "I'd try to do a good job." That's
Correct.
it.
This
Yeah.
seems like a situation where a lawyer should have advised her, hey, maybe let's work on a statement and let's not say anything at this time until some more facts come out, because
Let's not fuck our day,
at the
friend.
end of the day, if you're like JT is saying, if it's in the dancer's contract, hey, you got to be at this threshold to be on the tour so that you can keep up. If you're not performing well, that's one thing. But if you're Lizzo and you're all about body positivity and everything like that, it's not a good look. That's just doesn't seem like it's a good look. Again, let us know the whole story. Not everything's out, so we can only infer from the minute details that we have.
So with that, another big story that kind of come out recently is about me and Jamel's boy, Stephen Amell. If you know him, he's from Arrow. He's coming out pretty much against the actual SAG after a strike, which is kind of weird because obviously he's an actor, right? And he's coming out against it,
Scab,
and he's coming out as a scab.
apparently.
So he just came out with a new statement. It was updated on TMZ as well. He clarified that some of his comments telling us some of what he said was taken out of context. Steven says he absolutely supports his union, but doesn't like the act of the strike. He continues by saying,
Oh my God. Hold on. Full stop there, guys. The whole point of a union is so that you can actively strike when you don't get treated well.
Yeah.
So the fact that he's saying, hey, I don't like this power that we have and that we're exercising it is absolutely stupid. It's
Correct.
like people who say you shouldn't vote. It's just throwing away your ability to get things done.
Yes.
So Stephen obviously is somebody's lapdog, or he knows whose lap to sit on, because he's getting some things done without taking other people with him.
Yes.
These folks over here are exercising their right to get paid well, but he's
Correct.
an actor, so he don't have the same level of struggle because his checks are fatter.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
And it's
So, yeah, excuse me, but this is absolutely stupid for him to say this.
Correct.
it's the thing with unions like the SAG and with like say like sports unions like the NBA, it's not really about the superstar level people. Like Tom Cruise, Dwayne Johnson, Meryl Streep, those people, they cool. The strike really ain't gonna help. It's for them low bottom, lower tier background type actors. That's who the main protection is for, similar to how in NBA union, a lot of this stuff isn't really for your LeBron or your Kevin Durant. It's for the mid level, it's for the lower level people. And that's why you see a lot of these actors, the top level people who've had success, they're kind of going a little bit harder because like it's not necessarily about the big names, it's about these smaller names under us. We have to make sure this whole thing that we have these rights protected for everyone, but especially for the lesser, like calling them lesser seems mean, but for the lower level actors, the non superstar type people. And for Steve to say this for Mr. Mel, like JT said, unions, the biggest strength that a union has in any form of labor is the ability to strike and stop work. That's the biggest strength that a union has, whether that's auto unions, whether that's unions from any line of work. And if you have workers out there kind of undercutting it, that's going to muddy the message, and that's going to make the overall position a little bit weaker. Now,
Yes.
we ain't getting droves of these actors, but it's it's not a good look to Stephen Amell.
So, and the best example that I can use to describe what the actual strike is helping support is if you ever seen the movie, Gerard Butler did a movie a few years back called Gamer. It's a great example that I'm going to use for you. Now, Gerard Butler was technically one of the main characters of the game, right? His friend, John Leguizamo, is considered an NPC. Now, technically, John Leguizamo felt like shit because of the fact that he was irrelevant to the scenes and everything like that. But keep this in mind. We're not talking about supporting John Leguizamo's character. We're talking about the motherfuckers that was getting blown up before John Leguizamo was. All those people who were getting blown up, all the characters who get hit by cars and stray bullets and rounds and everything like that, they all part of SAG. So with that, when you talk about like even like if you want to go Marvel, that Captain Marvel scene where you had that old lady who turned into a motherfucking whatever she turned into, right? And all those people that was on the bus and stuff like that, they all are all a part of the SAG. So we're taking care of those people as well. So that's kind of wild. But the Stephen Amell situation and the Lizzo situation actually is bringing up a question. I wanted to bring up a question that was a little bit deeper, is the fact of like in the industry, do you guys ever feel like, or do you think that there was always this conversation about representation, making sure that you had black directors, black writers, and shit like that inside of it? Do you feel like those black and brown people don't support each other in the industry and actually are holding each other back as well in the industry? Does that question make sense for you?
Do I feel that they're holding black and brown people back?
So yes, black and brown people.
Elaborate more.
So, for example, if you were Jordan Peele and I was Keegan Michael Key and I wanted to get into actual like directing, and you're a fantastic director as Jordan Peele, and I sit there and say, "Hey, man, can you give me the reason? Help me out with getting into my foot in the door when it comes to the actual directing game, I guess you would say." And you basically said no. That's a good example for you. That's what I'm talking about.
Well,
they don't have
here's
that?
why it may not be, because it could be a matter of, with that example specifically, what if Keegan, Michael Key, and Jordan Peele had a relationship fallout? That's not some black-white, like, black on black crime or not looking out for somebody. That's, hey, I don't mess with this person anymore. Why am I going out of my way to help? So that I don't know if that would necessarily, but if it's explicit for like how Clarence Thomas is with affirmative action, he benefited from it and now wants to take, prevent other people.
Yeah.
That's more of kind of someone not wanting to help out other people who look like them in intentional.
Okay. So
With
use
that
Clarence
example,
Thomas. Yeah. Use Clarence Thomas.
I don't necessarily think so because you do see a lot of directors of color having women, having other people of color. Like I see that a lot. Like Jordan Peele was one of the producers of Candyman, and it was directed by a black woman, Nina Costa. So I see it. I don't see where there's like black and brown people aren't supporting each other across the industry.
Gotcha. What about you, JT?
I mean, first off, Jordan and Keegan are like best friends, so I don't think they would have a problem. But if you're talking like just regular folks, there are some people who will ride your coattails and use your passion as their passion because they don't have any. Hollywood is full of these vultures. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? So if you ain't vetted your people, if you don't know that you got some folks you can make a production with, like we do or some shit, then you got the right to say no to reserve your time for whatever. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But at any point in time, if you can put somebody on and you don't get paid for that, you got to remember that you have a different reward coming for that. And a lot of people forget that when they got bills to pay. So it can go a lot of different ways in this real life.
Okay. See, I don't know. I just feel like it was a good example, and I can't think of the comedian, his name off the top of my head, but he stated this about Gabriel Iglesias that like Gabriel Iglesias took a lot of his jokes and kind of just ran with them and basically used them. And in stand-up comedy, you kind of have to make your own jokes, right? And you can't like piggyback off of anybody else's shit. And that's a big thing that kind of happened with Gabriel Iglesias comedy. This apparently allegedly happened. So
Gabriel Iglesias?
yeah, Gabriel
Fluffy?
Fluffy has
Fluffy.
stolen
I remember
the
all
joke.
this with Carlos Mencia, but
Yeah, apparently Gabriel Iglesias is guilty of it too. The same thing about a few years back with when there was a conversation about like the joke about the UPS and the box joke for Steve Harvey and Mr. Cooper or shit like that. So Mark Curry, that was a conversation as well as the fact of like taking a joke and kind of just riding off of it and just like not kind of like paying that homage that it needed to be paid at that point in time. So I think that it does happen. I think that it definitely is flawed. So I think that like it leaves room for situations like what we see with Stephen Amell doing, where he's actually holding back the people that's supposed to be his peers far more. And then, and you look at the situation with Lizzo and her situation. If it was true, right? If those circumstances were like really possibly happening, I could see where people put impossible stakes right in front of you before you can actually get those actual, I guess you would say, those rewards, like you were saying, JT. So that was like some of the harder things that I don't know. That's how I kind of perceive it, is that they do have those barriers.
I think we would be remiss not to talk about a joyous story that's been going on in the
Correct.
news.
Go ahead.
It is our former president, Donald Trump, has got yet more indictments since the last time that we have spoken. It is hilarious to watch this man just it is fascinating. It is breathtakingly stupid how this operation is going. And we're seeing it from sources. Mike Pence is out here. He's basically saying, hey, I couldn't roll with Trump all the way, even though Mike Pence he's a piece of shit. Like Mike Pence looks like if he were in the Marvel universe, he'd be the person to introduce like the Mutant Registration Act. Like he has that type of face of being to him. But yeah, it's just beautiful to watch. Like again, he's probably not going to serve much jail time, but it's just him being embarrassed if he can feel that, him having these charges and him possibly facing some consequences. It's a beautiful thing to see. And it's just been fun watching the news, seeing all the shit come out about this utterly corrupt man.
But the fact that he says stuff on record, on
Yes.
recording, like, oh, when I was president, I could have declassified this, but I didn't. And now here it is. That's pretty interesting, right? Huh? Doug,
So
this is
bad.
indefensible, y'all.
Yes.
Like he said this stuff, so he knows damn well what he's doing. Anybody who Donald Trump is a con man.
Oh, can you say
He
that?
conned America.
He the monorail salesman from The Simpsons.
For real, Doug. He conned America, and some people were happy and want him to do it some more. All because he spoke the speech that they wanted to say. They let his hate be their hate.
Oh God.
No more. No
We
more.
got
of
another
this
one
old
because
geezer.
shit-stained Ron DeSantis basically has been torpedoing his campaign. That's been beautiful to watch too. Just the dumbest shit coming out of Florida, and it's just, oh, he's ruined his chance at being president. Good job, Ron.
I sure
We
hope
don't need
so,
you.
because I tell you, if all you think of when you hear Republicans is Trump and DeSantis, dumb people aren't worth running for office. They're really not. And if you vote for them, like, what does that say about you? Man, your values.
Yes.
Because there's so
Then
many
you got
other
old-ass Joe
people on the right who actually like don't actively hate other people. You know what I'm saying? But these two right here that you done talk about, DeSantis and Trump, these are the worst of them. So if you elect these folks, America, you hate somebody very deep.
With that, speaking of politics, well, before we get into anything else, we got to talk about our Velvet Freight Train of the week, man. Oh God, we didn't get to do it last week, but there've been so many people who've been doing so good. So
we didn't
do
we
it.
had a Velvet Freight Train.
No, I don't. No, man. We glorify. We always here. We day ones. We Velvet Freight Trains all the time. So yeah, what the fuck was happening there? So I actually want to talk about our Velvet fucking Freight Trains, bro, because this is gonna take a little bit of time. Because these are
VFFT.
Yes, Velvet Freight Trains for the week. So I'm actually. I get you what you're saying, man. I'm
sticking with it.
We got.
Who are the Velvet Freight Trains of the week? HisStory.
Oh man,
he's trying to stall till he can get to
yeah. No. It's not that at all, bro. It's not that at all. So it's actually these fantastic people right here. So let's go ahead and talk about our Velvet Freight Trains of the week.
MFs.
That's a bunch of people. It's intentional, and the reason why it's intentional because of the
gloss over some of them.
Bruh, we got to talk about these people. So first off, these two dudes up top over here, man, give them the two Justice. Give them the motherfucking round of applause that they deserve, bruh. They just won re-election. Bravo to them. They get to continue the rest of their term. Now,
that's because their people said, "Hey, I see you working for me. I'm gonna vote for you again."
Hell yeah. These two guys, out of three people, one person actually won their actual spot back. Initially, which was a white lady, and people both Justins were calling them out. Even the young lady were calling it out Congress as well, Tennessee State for their state representatives, because of the fact that they didn't give the two Justins their job back, but they gave the white lady her job back. And she said that I think that this is racism because you didn't give these two guys
Tennessee being racist. Come on now.
Exactly.
I mean, it is in the South.
Yes. I mean, but these guys here, their only problem that they did was go against gun violence and say that we need to come up with some new policies. Don't let people shoot kids in the schools, y'all. Don't say nothing bad about people shooting kids in the school, y'all. Don't say nothing about your guns and your Second Amendment rights, man. So big shout outs to both of these Justins, man. Justin Pearce and Justin Jones, man. They just won their motherfucking spot. Now I know you're trying to figure out about the other four celebrities, but I put them below these two guys because we need
I know why Beyonce's there.
Why is Beyonce?
Why is Ludacris and Leah Remini and Viola Davis? Let's chop these down one at a time. Start with Ludacris.
So Ludacris just donated a lot of fucking money. Now I don't know if you seen that where Ludacris actually donated money. I'm gonna pull up the actual article for you right now. Ludacris just donated a bunch of money to a school in Ohio. Actually, let me correct. Yep, donated 50K to a children's theater in Cincinnati, Ohio, bro. Now, I have been an advocate for the fact of like the importance of like education and school. I know all of us, we all support this, right? But to be able to provide an opportunity for people. And I feel like art has definitely been one of those ones where it's so hard to get people to help you, be able to hone your craft and actually be able to actually see you like move forward and pursued forward in your career. And so I want to say, man, thank you to Ludacris for Christopher Bridges deciding to actually give us. I say us because I know that these kids are going to contribute to us in the future, man, in their art. Give us an extra 50K to the kids in Cincinnati, Ohio, in the theater, man. So big shout outs to that homie. Round of applause. Fucking Velvet Freight Train of the week. Did it so smooth. Didn't even need anybody else to tell him to do this thing, man. So definitely helped contribute to those people in Cincinnati, man. Now the next one, Leah Remini. This woman here has advocated against the Scientology, the Church of Scientology. Now, granted, I'm not.
Oh, she been on this.
Yeah, she's been on this so bad. She is officially suing them because of the fact that she says that she feels like they have been stalking her, giving her some retaliation because of the fact that she's done several documentaries and other like things that actually raise awareness of what is happening in between this Church of Scientology. So I say kudos to Leah Remini for doing that, man. If you are letting people know about abuse, anything, man, and people using their powers to keep people oppressed and down, man, big shout outs to Leah Remini for doing that, man, because she's actually using her power for good. Obviously, yes, she can't act and shit these days, so maybe this is her side hustle. But at the same token, you might as well get some of your money back because the fact that the way that Church of Scientology charge you for just their Bibles is fucking wild. So with that, man, Leah Remini is one of the other people that I actually want to say big shout outs to. Now, the other young lady that we got to talk about is Beyonce. Beyonce is up there as well. And the reason being is because of the fact that she paid tribute to one of her fans who actually got died from being stabbed while dancing to her song. And it was not just normal dancing, it was voguing to her song. So, Jamel, you seem like you knew a little bit more about that. What's going on with that, man?
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about the Resistance tour that she's currently on. But I didn't know.
Renaissance tour.
The Renaissance tour?
Yeah.
Resistance, that was Muse's tour.
Yeah. So she actually was posting and she actually acknowledged and she paid homage to it actually during the tour to that person. So yeah, that's fucking dope, man. That she's actually acknowledged those people. I acknowledged one of her fans who actually passed away from them. Now the last one is Viola Davis. So later on, you're gonna actually hear me talk to you about Stephen Amell as well and his stance on the actual strike as well. But Viola Davis actually went against actually continuing to filming for her film, The G20, man. And this is an independent film, and she actually went against it, and she shut down filming for it. Now, if you notice, like several other people have done this, but this is a small independent one, man, and she stood by her guns that she wasn't gonna actually do any filming. You seen Ryan Reynolds did it with Deadpool, and then several other people have done that as well. So big shout outs to Viola Davis. So I just say Velvet Freight Train this week had a lot of people who just did fantastic stuff and good stuff and stuck to guns and did it for the purpose of good. So man,
this was a goddamn Velvet Freight caboose.
Yes, bro. This was full fucking station load, bro. Full station
Train.
Bro, yeah, fucking wild. But with that, man, gentlemen, how you doing this week, man?
It is.
So
it's Thursday.
I'm probably gonna sound worse as the broadcast goes
Man,
on.
I'm so sorry, man. I know you just went to go see your family in Detroit, correct?
Yeah, I had a funeral.
Gotcha, man. How did that go for you, man? And are you feeling good? As the rest of the Thompson family feeling okay?
The Thompson family are fine. They didn't suffer the loss.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Well, hopefully the rest of the family is doing good, and then the people who you lost, man, I'm sorry for that. Sorry for that, man. What about you, Jamel? How you doing?
It's Thursday. I'm tired as hell. I had two phone job interviews today for some possible changing of employment, but yeah, everything is going cool. Wrapping up the week and just ready to get into this podcast. Oh, gotta mention this Saturday on my YouTube channel, Eastside Reviews, I'm going to be doing a live watch along for WWE SummerSlam 2023. Should be an interesting show, so definitely make sure to stop by the channel. It's youtube.com/ at Eastside Reviews 727, or just search Eastside Reviews on YouTube. Stop by, chat, enjoy the show. Yeah, we're going to talk shit. We're going to talk about a lot of different things during the broadcast and just have a swell time.
Yeah. See, that's good, man. And I'm proud. I'm proud of you, man. Congratulations, dude. You got that next job, dog. Hands down. You got the next job. So with that, if you have a chance, man, go back and look at our YouTube page. We did our actual predictions yesterday as well. So check out our actual SummerSlam
Oh
predictions yesterday.
shit!
For our
Before
Island of Irrelevancy.
before I forget,
Yes.
gotta remind people, and I want to make sure this is front of mind for some folks. I will be doing the Last Dab Apollo challenge for more wings.
It looks
Was
like
that
you've
blue
been doing that challenge often, dog. That bottle looking a little empty. It's just
Yeah.
under the label.
Oh nah, empty. It's still relatively full. I only used it once. This shit's too hot to eat on like a regular occasion. So
Oh.
yeah, I'm.
Man, I
What?
feel like I
This
could
is
go
it for these
swimming right
wings.
now, man. I need to clear this whole system out.
It'll
Flame
clear,
off.
out some
You know
shit
what
that
I'm
you
saying?
had from your
Just
days in high
burn it
school.
all
But yeah,
down.
Oof.
the one chip
Oh,
challenge will never make an appearance
come on,
again
bro.
on any
Where's the
platform
blue
that I'm
Doritos at, dog? Bring out
in.
the blue
Never
Doritos.
again.
Yeah,
I'll
that's
say,
crazy.
you know what? I'll say this. Y'all want me to eat the 2023 Hot Chip Challenge? Fucking pay me. My cash app is Jamel727. I
I'll
accept
put
nothing less than
how
four
much
figures
how
to
much
and
money is it for your suffering? $7 good? Because that's about the price of a movie ticket on Tuesdays.
nah. In
And I'm
order
only
to
gonna
eat
get 10 minutes. You
the
noped out of the broadcast real quick to go cry or
the
whatever.
one chip challenge.
Yeah.
Oh, for the one chip challenge, I'm
You
gonna
sat
need
there and
multiple
that
figures.
show was 15 minutes long, and you ate that mug at like
Oh, geez.
14:30. And
Yeah,
then it was just like, "Ooh, I
Yeah,
gotta go." And then
you did. You did.
I imagine you went in the
I
shower
got
and wept.
sick.
Bro.
I got sick immediately
He
after that.
disappeared
So
so quickly.
yeah, unless I'm
So,
getting paid for it, the one chip challenge will
What do you
never
mean you
enter
got
this
sick?
template.
I don't see when
so
people say that, it's so vague.
I ate the chip. I threw up everything that was in my stomach. So much so that I got it a little bit on my bathroom floor and a little bit on the wall. That's how badly the
oh
reaction that I
god.
had to
Oh.
the chip was. And also,
So much.
shitting was
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
Oh.
And
So,
guess what? Why wasn't this on the video? This is the punishment that we wanted to
We
see,
want to
and
see.
we didn't get
because y'all
that.
don't need to
I
see
don't.
me like
I
that.
don't need. I don't want to see
Y'all don't need to
You
see
anything.
me
better take
throw
that.
up.
This is why we didn't blow up on Twitch, because you didn't take that phone in that bathroom with you, Jamel.
Yeah,
Had a
yeah.
GoPro set up on the side. Just
I can't have my vomit
it's the
showing
barrel
on the
camera.
internet.
Ugh.
Jamel flying through the bathroom like a motherfucker, like paranormal activity film.
God, dog. I
I
Projecting
ate
like
that
laugh
chip,
too
and
hard, y'all. It
then
hurts to call.
after I threw up, I
yeah.
went to sleep immediately.
So
I was done for that
I'm gonna
whole day
I'm
and
gonna
the
ask a
next day.
question. Does it taste good at least? The last dab.
No. Oh, the last dab actually, the flavor does hit. Like you get flavor on that.
But not
The
Apollo.
chip, there's nothing. The
No.
last dab, yeah. Oh, the sauce itself is good, then burns the shit out of it.
Oh
Like it
god.
actually tastes good a
That
bit
that's
until you start burning.
Until just the searing pain. Yes.
oh
Until
god.
hell
Mm.
starts to creep
So
up in
listen,
your
I have a
mouth.
buddy, Tedley Do Right, as we call him. Nobody calls him that but me sometimes.
Fair enough.
But anyway, he likes to eat hot stuff with his brother-in-law, and this could be the start of something hilarious for me to watch.
Yes. We could do the
So
challenge.
maybe I should just get y'all to be like, what's the hottest thing you? I ate this because there's videos of them just eating Carolina Reapers and gently weeping afterwards.
Okay, fair enough.
So like,
Actually,
I think you have more to offer, Jamel. That's what I'm saying. But
My asshole with this story.
bro, I don't know if anybody's asking you to offer your asshole, bro. I'm just
Well, if I eat this hot shit, that's going to make hot shit, and my asshole is going to suffer. So, no.
Oh god,
he gonna feel like Chadwick Boseman by the morning.
oh, bro, that ass
Sunday
cancer.
gonna be weird.
That ass cancer though. The bomb is the.
I'm shitting my ass and singing soprano.
No,
Nah, I'm
the
not
bomb
trying
is
to
no good. For real, the bomb is made by people with
Yeah.
hate in their hearts. They wanted to bomb Vietnam more. Like for
Oh,
real.
you
It is
watch-
not a good thing.
It takes
Hey,
out
Candyman,
everybody.
You know we have a story about that around here. Well, I do.
Oh
Of watching somebody eat the bomb. Right?
no! What's the story? And
Oh,
I'm scared to. I'm
Alright.
scared to ask. Oh, do you want to save it for October? It sounds like a horror story.
Look, it's a funny story. My nigga Joey, right? He loves hot food.
Yes.
This dude carried hot sauce with him. Like he is one of those. Okay.
Okay.
Loves hot sauce. Put hot sauce on a pickle, put hot sauce on pizza, put hot sauce on chips, put hot sauce on wing. Just everything can use more hot sauce.
Hell yeah.
So as he is, you know, this and at the time we're playing Halo 2, maybe 2,
Yeah.
on the Xbox,
The only good one.
and he comes late. And so we already over there, you know, and he comes late. He comes with his little girlfriend, and he starts talking some mess. So, you know, about hot sauce. So one of them is like, hey, I got some hot sauce. It's called the bomb. Hey, I don't care about your hot sauce. It ain't that hot. I can eat it if it's hot sauce. I love hot sauce. I eat hot sauce every day. I'm pretty sure he kept harping on that phrase for some reason. I eat hot sauce every day. And so we're outside to make him a sandwich, right? Goes to the kitchen, gets out a little slice of American cheese, slice of ham, some white bread, and then he takes the sandwich and he put one little dab right on the top corner there, right? Joey starts opening his mouth and running it, like, "Oh, come on, that ain't nothing, man." So he looks okay, and proceeds
Famous
to
last
dump
words.
the hot sauce
Fuck.
all over the sandwich.
Oh,
Scoot around a little bit.
fuck.
Here's your sandwich. So imagine, like, have you ever put something thin like barbecue sauce
Correct.
on your sandwich before? And you know how
Yeah.
like it kind of falls into the bread a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, most of it was kind of up at the top. And so Joey takes a bite. He hits the top, takes 2 bites, goes, "Oh, come on, that's not hot." Chews. And then midway through,
Oh, fuck.
his whole countenance changes, right? And I'm not sure how much of this sandwich he's chewed at this point, but he immediately goes to the sink and starts spitting whatever's left out of his mouth. And let me tell you, it was not
No.
the majority of what he had bitten off did not go into the sink. Okay, if you get what I'm saying, it was less. He had already done the swallowing process. It was in. Okay. And then he sits down and starts to go into panic mode. You know what I'm saying? I need some water. Drinks the water. Oh, it just sloshes everything around. Oh, I need milk. I need milk. Gets the milk. Oh, I need some ice cream. Oh, I need another piece of bread. Nothing helped. Nothing at all helped. It was just searing pain and endless laughter from the peanut gallery. There was the rest of us who weren't stupid enough to just run our mouth about a hot sauce. This dude goes into the bathroom. He is gone 45 minutes. Just gone. Like disappeared. His girlfriend sitting out here, just left his girlfriend with the fellas. You know what I'm saying? He goes up in the bathroom. This brother came out so humbled. Like he had a long talk with Jesus. Like, I'm sorry for running my mouth. I shouldn't have been talking that shit. These fools really showed me up. Why am I on here? Why am I on this toilet? It was greed. I apologize, Lord, for the sin of greed. That's what he looked like coming out that toilet. Hilarious. A day I'll never forget. And this is why, if somebody offers you the bomb hot sauce, you tell them to go to hell.
Oh God.
Because they don't care
No.
about you. They don't love you if they offer you the bomb. They want to watch you suffer.
Damn, I don't have anything like that. Oh shit. Only thing I can say is we tried the hottest wings that they offer at Buffalo Wild Wings, and that shit was uncomfortable.
The Atomic?
I think so. I think it was that, but
Or
it was the hottest.
Or...
It was something. It was like their hottest wings. It was a challenge.
I had the special edition hottest wings or whatever, and they were like, it was just hot to be hot. And so like, I just dip them in some ranch and it's fine.
Gotcha. I see. Here's my thing, man, and this is my problem with up north or Midwest, whatever, like that, outside of like the South, is that like it seems like they want to burn your soul instead of actually having flavor to shit.
Right.
And so
that's the problem. They do it out of spite.
Yeah. So I'm from a place where we used to have this. We have this type of sausage called a hot sausage. And so all it is just a spicy sausage. It's for the purpose of not only being spicy, but also having that flavor, and you can enjoy it. You can have it with some fully dressed.
Spicy is not a flavor.
Yeah, you can have a little bit. You notice I said that spicy, and then with a little bit of flavor, and that's what it was, bro. It was just like, I don't understand why y'all so broken. Your Popeyes is terrible up here. Your mild, your spicy is our mild where I'm from.
That's
but we have no flavor.
Spicy for real, because this stuff is not spicy.
No,
it's not.
But when you go to somebody's crib and they make some wings or something like that, oh man, do you want to try this? They trying to fucking challenge themselves to see if they can cuss enough and do enough evil shit on this planet that they can survive hell. They're training. So I just thrown it out there, bro. I don't understand the concept of like California Reaper. And
I will say this, since we on hot sauce to kick the show off.
Yes.
I ordered 2 sauces. I ordered the Last Dab and I ordered one of their classics. The classic was actually good. It was spicy, but it had a good flavor too. It was a Blue Label version of their classic. So if you do go to like heathenist.com, that's where you can buy the sauces that are on Hot Ones for any given season. I recommend getting the classic trio pack. Like all 3 of those flavors are actually really good. And the Los Calientes was also good too.
Oh God, it's so bad. But so I spent the last week and a few days, man, trying to save Making History Making podcast. That's like my first podcast, Making History Making, because we left technically Podvine about a year ago. And I'm so fucking glad that we left about a year ago, bro, because Podvine was so fucking trash. Certain people have seen it as reasons, Podvine or whatever like that. And it felt like it was a good decision, but now they're just supposed to be shutting down their website and shit like that. I tried to transfer the podcast over, and it was just a fucking problem, bro. I disdain fucking Podvine, and I really fucking hate those people for their disrespect about that shit. So with that, man, Podvine was a problem thing. So I'm glad that I was able to get Making History Making on Spotify, but it's a fucking problem, man. With that, man, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of all ages, people who conform to gender norms, and people who say, you know what? I guess, unfortunately, RIP for Paul Robeson, Lizzo, maybe saying I'm fat. I don't know how. Whatever I feel like today, is what I is. Janelle Monáe album is dope. I don't know. My name is History Williams, and I am your host today. This is our fantastic podcast. Where we talk about movies and films, and we talk about how it affects our culture as well as also the people around us and our communities. So, with that, welcome to the Historical Voices from the Eastside. If you're looking over there to my right side, there's a guy over there. His fantastic name over there. He's our Eastside reviewer. He is Jamel Watson. Give him a round of applause. Yes. So
There's
also,
people above me.
there's now.
That's Sydney again. We're not doing no Bill Cosby movie, Sydney.
Now,
But if we do the movies with the Steens and the Christopher Nolans, maybe the people would watch it.
bro, I gotta ask you a question later, but that's okay. Jamie Foxx does the best Bill Cosby, bro. If you ever see this movie called Booty Call, swear to God, I would like to take the time while I'm knocking the boots.
You saying booty call like we aren't black and we haven't heard of booty call. We're black. What nigga hasn't heard of booty call?
Bro, that's assuming though. Like we might have some white folks that listen to this. Maybe
You can profile.
You could, yeah, just Booty Call was fantastic. It's just
We're doing a lot of stuff before you introduce JT too.
yes.
Y'all know my name. I'm the reason you've come.
Yes. So with that, he's the reason that you come. He's also our voice of reason. He's our voice actor.
Mm-hmm.
Big shout out.
Sound inappropriate that I'm not.
JT, the motherfucking Jonathan Thompson voice. Big shout outs to this homie. Man, it's just so great, man. It's so good to fucking know about this podcast. But gentlemen,
One lad in the middle last night. I have a dream of touching peaks outside. Yes, I did. I have a dream of touching peaks outside.
What did you think of particularly the portrayal of the Aga? What did you think of the? What did you? Let's call them what
The Dora Milaje, should we just call them that since you know how to pronounce
basically,
it?
because that was something that's actually been.
And that's why all of this is just it's a lot of it's mixed to put it kind. It's been mixed reception wise. Like
To be woke is to be aware of what is around you. The sufferings of others are included in that. How your actions affect other people are included in being woke. We got some we got grandma over here undercutting the parents. That's what we got.
Grandma was sitting there hitting the fucking.
Hit that
chilling on the
weed
left
right
side.
left, man. She was in a good mood.
Grandma was. That's basically. Isn't that how grandparents are? History, like, they ain't my kids. Let me be wild.
But it also has given places where we can actually utilize it for journalism. We can use it for protest. We can use it to be able to get ideas to kind of coagulate a little bit better.